Commissioner, please proceed.
Chairman Wyden, Ranking Member Murkowski, Senator Heinrich, Senator Flake, I am particularly pleased to see my former colleagues here serving in the Senate. And I'm glad to address the committee on this so important issue. Last November, Puerto Rico held a free and fair vote on its political status. The ballot had two questions. Voters were first asked if they want Puerto Rico to remain a territory. 54% said no, and 46% said yes. I have the official certification of the State Elections Commission of Puerto Rico to confirm this. A party in Puerto Rico, the PDP, urged a yes vote. Nevertheless, voters rejected territory status by a wide margin. The current status has now lost its democratic legitimacy to the extent that the people of Puerto Rico ever consented to this status. Such consent has been withdrawn. This result should not be surprising. I represent more U.S. citizens than 42 senators. My constituents have fought side by side with your constituents from Korea to Afghanistan. They can move to the States for the price of a plane ticket. But if they stay in Puerto Rico, they cannot vote for president, have no representation in the Senate, and elect one member to the House. I can only watch as my colleagues cast floor votes on bills affecting every aspect of life on the island. I depend on the goodwill of senators elected to protect the interests of their constituents, not mine. I request assistance from a president who's not required to earn a vote in Puerto Rico. To expect a presidential administration to feel the same obligation to support Puerto Rico as it does the states is to substitute hope for experience. The failure of the current administration to send the witness to testify today is a sad reminder of this point. Moreover, territory status gives the federal government license to discriminate against Puerto Rico, and the island is treated unfairly under numerous federal laws, including most safety net programs. There is consensus that territory status is the root cause of the economic problems that have persisted in Puerto Rico for at least 4 decades. The best evidence that the status quo has failed is this. In the brief period from 2004 to 2012, Puerto Rico's population decreased by 4.2%, with hundreds of thousands of residents leaving for the States in search of improved quality of life. I turn now to the second question in the referendum, which asked voters to express their preference among the 3 valid alternatives to the current status. Of those who chose an option, 61% voted for statehood. The State Elections Commission so certifies as well. And for the first time ever, this is important, for the first time ever, the number of votes for statehood exceeded the number of votes for the current status. Before the vote, the PDP claimed that the second question was unfair because it did not include its status proposal, known as Enhanced Commonwealth. Party leaders urged voters to leave the question blank, and some did. They now cite this abstention as the basis for their argument that statehood somehow lost the vote. That is nonsense. Self-determination is a choice among options that can be implemented, not an exercise in wishful thinking. The PDP's proposal has been repeatedly rejected by federal officials, including this committee, on legal and policy grounds. Therefore, it could not have appeared on the ballot. Ultimately, those blank ballots do nothing to detract from the main point, which is that a majority of voters reject territory status, a supermajority favors statehood among the alternatives, and more voters want statehood than any other status option. No senator would accept territory status for their constituents, so you must respect that my constituents do not accept it either. With my support, the administration requested an appropriation to conduct the first federally authorized status vote in the territory's history, with the declared goal of resolving the issue. That funding was approved by the House Appropriations Committee, confirming that the effort to secure justice for Puerto Rico is not and should not be a partisan issue. For Puerto Rico to resolve its ultimate status, it must become a state or a sovereign nation, either independent from or in association with the US. Territory status should not be an option because it has failed. An enhanced Commonwealth cannot be an option because it is fiction. I have filed legislation that outlines the rights and responsibilities of statehood, provides for an up or down vote in Puerto Rico on the territory's admission as a state, and prescribes the steps the federal government would take if statehood obtains a majority. Those supporting statehood and those opposing it would have equal opportunity to express their views. My bill already has 105 co-sponsors, and it is my hope that a senator will introduce a companion bill. The US citizens of Puerto Rico deserve, and now they have demanded, a democratic and dignified status. Congress must take action. Thank you.